Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope everybody had a great trading day yesterday as we are kicking off and our week's heading downhill fast, and so is the market. So let's go ahead and dive right in. For those of you new to the channel, do me a favor, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so you get the updates as they become available. Looking at the S&P first. S&P, we yesterday I had talked about we'd gapped up. We hadn't really done a whole lot. And when we have this gap up and we don't get a lot of follow through, that tells me that there could be some weakness coming. And we sold off a little bit towards the end of the day yesterday. And that sell-off has just continued into the overnight hours. Now, as we have started that sell-off, I'm going to look up here at a potential reversal point. If indeed we can make it back up to this region, which I don't feel like, we may not. We may not be able to make it back up to this reversal point simply because when we have a decent downward trend, we don't always retest some of those areas up above us. So for right now, I've got this area highlighted as a potential point to get back in. I'm going to make this a bit smaller, tighten that up just a smidge. There we go. As this is a fair price value area that was created around the London Open, so anytime created around the European Open, we got a slightly better probability of success. And I think that could be a good chance to get back in if we pop back up. I will tell you, I'm not opposed to, if we don't quite make it all the way up to there, to somebody getting short on a candle-to-candle style of trade when we have this trend move as it can continue its move down. In the Nasdaq, we did break below what we had spoken about yesterday, that weakness, and the Nasdaq has now come into a potential reversal area. Now, this potential reversal area doesn't look like it's got a huge amount of room to move, and this would be our opposing fair price value area if indeed we come down in. So you may decide, you know what, the long isn't worth taking. And I would not be opposed to somebody not taking this long, mostly because, we've gotten a pretty weak arrival into it, a little bit of basing before it. It wasn't a great level to begin with, which is why we had the dashed line. So it is still there. It's still viable. If we come into here and then trade back out, you can take it, but the profit margin is pretty slim. Crude oil. So crude oil, we've come back into our potential opportunity for crude oil as a long. I'm not a huge fan of our arrival into this level. This is a very weak arrival into this crude oil level, the way that we've chopped around inside of here before coming into it. We didn't drop down into the level. We kind of sort of meandered into this area, which makes it that much weaker of a position. So just keep an eye on it, manage your stops accordingly, and manage your risk accordingly as well. I'm still not willing to try to short as our big picture trend is telling me it's a better chance to go up. So looking at gold, so gold has popped up significantly from this low that we had down here, and we talked yesterday about the potential for a breakout above here, right above this region, and that's really where we just kind of have hit and come down from a little bit today. So I didn't say that it was a great opportunity. I'm not in love with it, and still I'm not. However, if we do get a little bit of a pullback for a better reversal trade, you could get something right in here. Now this also would correspond with the same short in the S&P as well as in the Nasdaq. So this does bode well for a potential reversal trade on gold. Looking at our bond markets, now yesterday in bonds, we talked about leaving this line here. So if you were so inclined, you could take a breakout above it because this line was kind of a place that price had been centered around it. So there's an opportunity there if you were able to capitalize on that. You get a little move. The Aussie, we had our breakout on the Aussie, and price has now come back almost to the origin of the breakout, which could give you another bite at the apple if you wanted to try to get long on it on this pullback. Now, by the way, this was a breakout of a kind of a triangle pattern, a little bit of a. It was this breakout that we're referring to, and that was the breakout. And we talked yesterday about taking your stop and moving it up underneath this region here to lock in some pretty good profits. We've almost come back to the origin of that breakout. That's where I said if you want to take the long that you can. You know, I don't think that's a bad trade. I've got nothing really set up, though. It doesn't really give me enough oomph for me to be willing to take that one. On the euro, though, the euro, we have gotten a touch and go off of this little area here. Now, our profit target's going to be really tight, so right up in here. So this one doesn't give me much room, and we could hit that profit target very quickly on the euro. The Canadian dollar, I have not put a level in simply because we were really, really tight on our swings, and now we've made our swings really wide, right? If you look at this on a 4-hour chart, it's easier to see. We had this really, really tight base that we were trading inside of fair price value, and then we have now taken that same area and we've widened the heck out of it, right? And it's just become a little bit more volatility in there. I think that there is going to be an opportunity inside of here, maybe possibly somewhere up here. I'm not a huge fan of the time it was created. Could also be down in this region right here for a potential short. But we've got to be able to get through some of these you know, buying opportunities down here. Those have slowed price down both times they've hit. Now, I will say this: if you look at, you know, the momentum of the moves, the first time that we hit this area, we bounced up this high. The second time, we bounced up this high. The third time, if we do bounce up out of this region, we've got a smaller potential bounce. And so we could get a little reversal here on that smaller bounce idea, right? You know, bouncing back up into this region right there for a potential selling opportunity. You're just seeing that momentum of, you know, the number of buy orders is being reduced in this area down here. So that's why we may not see as big of a bounce back up. But still not enough for me to place a trade on it or place a trade around it. I want to make sure that it fits my rules. Japanese yen. So our Japanese yen has come to our level and blew right through our level. That one did not hold at all, so we removed this one. Our second level, though, is holding pretty well, and price is coming down out of it. I don't know how long it'll last, but if it does, we've got a nice little run on this area here. So Japanese yen, strong move higher in the overnight. Copper came screaming down. Nat gas went screaming up, but now it's been going sideways. And then as far as the Great British Pound, we did not get our setup into our region up above us. Now, I will say in the pound, I was real tempted last night to look at a potential breakdown below this region here because we had that low there and nothing really to prevent it from dropping. I did not ultimately wind up doing it because, let's pull this back up. On the 4-hour chart, I was not a huge fan of all this noise down here that could stop it from falling. I want to make sure that there's enough room to stop it from indeed falling down any deeper than it has. So I think today we've got you know, maybe a bearish day intact. Keep an eye on it and trade your plan. Just make sure that you understand what the rules are and that you follow them and that you are doing your best to give yourself the best opportunity by trading your plan and following your rules. So thanks so much, everybody, and I will see you soon.